KXVS, the voice of Stockton.
You know what I got? I got a picture of his face with the little pillow on it, the sleep face, and we're in Chicago.
Are they already in Chicago?
The one and only Leo Biaz. Hey, Leo.
I'm excited to be back, my man. It was 9 days in Vegas. We got stuck in the desert, and we had a little hangover remix out there, man.
I wore a wig to school once, and they said no headgear was allowed.
How did
spider web
was it
tights.
Obvious that it was a wig?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was
It was a
having
terrible
fun.
wig.
See, this is exactly why we have them on the show, and this is what makes them fun.
You're listening to KXVS, the voice of Stockton, 92.1 FM.
Hi everyone, this is Dr. Julie Dameron, local veterinarian for over 20 years. I am so excited about my new radio show, Tales and Tips, on Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, Voice of Stockton, and KXVS Radio. I will discuss relevant issues affecting animals and pet owners today, how to avoid common problems, and how to extend the quality of life for your cherished companions. As a community advocate, I will also discuss important social issues that affect our city. I plan to showcase organizations and heroes who are doing amazing things to help others. Remember to tune in every Tuesday morning at 10, starting soon.
My name is Josh.
This is a production for the voice of San Joaquin. Porque nos vamos a enlazar con el mero, el gallo de Zacatecas.
That's right, homeboy.
El de Guayá. You got it, homeboy. Ahí les voy.
Dicen que soy poderoso.
KXVS, the voice of Stockton, 92.1 FM.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of KXVS, the voice of Stockton, or its parents, affiliates, management, and staff.
Voice of San Joaquin and the voice of Stockton present Tell It Like It Is with your hosts, Sanchez and Jerome Clay.
Hey, everybody. Good day and welcome. It's been a long time, right?
Back 2019.
Yeah, we've been going for a month.
Strong. We got to start out strong and keep it going for the next 12 months.
There we go. So this is Tell It Like It Is, a show where a conservative Republican and a progressive Democrat,
can you guess which one is which?
Right, can come together and discuss politics, current events, and cultures from both sides, right?
Both sides of the aisle, both sides
What
of the spectrum.
Where the debates will be fiery and exchanges might be heated, but at the end, we're going to agree to disagree respectfully to both sides' opinions. So we got a great episode tonight, but before we get into that, Motec, tell us what we're drinking on tonight.
Man, shout out as usual to Casa Mexico Tequila. Today we're drinking the good stuff. It's all good, but today is like the highest notch. It's Añejo. So anybody interested in finding out more about this is of course the new tequila brand owned by Oscar De La Hoya and Mario Lopez, and so they can get more information at cmtequila.com. And here in Stockton, now since the last show that we've had last year, now there is being carried in 3 locations here in town. It's being carried at the liquor store.
Shop and Go Liquor right there next to 99 Cents store on March Lane.
As well as Midgley's in Lincoln Center and Octavio's in on Benjamin Hall, Lincoln Village West.
But we gotta say congratulations though. Let's tell us the news. What happened at your delegation tonight, brother?
Well, shout out, thank you to everybody who came out to support me and my slate. I was able to secure a spot as a delegate once again, so I got reelected, and then 2 other members, Carlos Villapadua and his brother Brando, were elected to the 2 alternate spots. So shout out to them as well.
Salute to that, brother. Salute to that. Okay.
Yeah, congratulations.
We have had a lot of good people on the slate. A lot of them were brand new, and so that's what I'm working on is bringing new blood to the local Democratic Party and making sure that it's being inclusive as possible. So, definitely we're going to keep on pushing and come back stronger the next time, and hopefully everybody on our slate will get elected and get a spot, but at the very least, they're more educated about the process, how it works, and they got to experience the election.
And before we get into the show, we also got to give a shout out to Christina Fugazi. She's swearing in on Tuesday. So you got the time where she's swearing in at?
Yeah, so for Stockton here locally, the new city council members, Christina Fugazi being one of them that a lot of people are paying attention to, will be swearing in for her re-election.
Congratulations.
5:30 Tuesday at the Civic Auditorium.
Okay.
They had to move it to the Civic Auditorium instead of City Hall chambers because they expect a lot more people to be there from the community.
We got to salute that one too.
Yeah,
we got to salute to you, Christina. All right.
And we got a few more council members too getting sworn in the same day, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Paul Canapa.
Paul Canapa, Saul Jobbrack.
That's correct.
And so congratulations. Is there any others? I think those are the three. Right?
And another recent change has been congratulations. Shout out to Miguel Villapadua, County Board of Supervisors.
Oh, that's right. He became the
chair of the board.
Congratulations.
So, shout out to Miguel Villapadua as well.
Big things for 2019. So tonight we must talk about the government shutdown and your party acting up again. Articles of impeachment has been filed. Then on top of that, we have to talk about these cop shootings and the ones that maybe justified.
It's a lot going on.
And the ones that are not justified. And then we're going to talk about that new bill, SB 1421, that came out. And then also we got to give you the tell of this story of the day. You're gonna like this. I mean, this is great. So let's get into the government shutdown, right?
Yeah, they've been shut down longer now than we were on break, right?
So that's true.
In history.
I think the last time we had a show was a month ago,
right?
At the beginning of December. Were they on shutdown yet, or they had just shut down?
So understand. Let's talk about how the shutdown works. So typically, the Congress will come together and they'll put together a package. But recently, what they've been doing is this called, I think it's called CR like apportionments, to where they'll take in, I think they have 12 apportionments right now.
Okay.
And I believe they agreed on 5 of them. So now what happens, instead of bringing a complete package, they bring in individuals so it won't shut down, or if there is a shutdown, the government can still function. So I know they've agreed on 5 functions already, and the remaining they haven't. The issue is Trump is still fighting for this wall, right? He's saying, I'm going to shut it down for the wall. But before we get into this wall, let's remember this.
The same wall that tunnels are being dug under?
So this is what I love. Back in 2013, we got Governor Don fact-checking in the House. We know you're going to flip back and forth.
That's why we got Don, so he won't let you wiggle out.
So watch it. In 2013.
The shutdown started on the 22nd of December.
Okay, right.
Cool.
But
so it's been almost a month.
Yeah. So in 2013.
Yeah, and also, by the way, so Friday would be the first day that people didn't get their check.
Right. So in 2013, for this wall, 234-mile wall, the Democrats voted for this wall, right? Remember, they voted for it. Fact check it. 2013, Chuck Schumer was all on board.
Yeah.
Right. So
well,
now
they've been on board since
they've been
Bill
on board.
Clinton, correct?
Now all of a sudden, right? They don't want to give them the wall.
Obama.
So I promise Governor Don, I'll explain how Mexico can play for this wall. I don't think we need the wall, but I'm gonna just say, if you want Mexico to pay for it, go to El Chapo with the $14 billion that they got seized of his money, or it could be more money.
He's kind of occupied right now.
Right, no.
Just the fact check. Right, where's Don on the fact check?
No.
Assets are seized.
Right, his assets are seized.
The ones they know about.
No, okay.
That's true.
But how much they have, Don? It's about $14 billion or so?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So if you want Mexico to pay for the wall,
okay,
have El Chapo pay for the wall and call it the La Chapo Wall.
I don't know.
You call it the Great El Chapo Wall, built by the hands of the Great El Chapo. Then you don't have to worry about government shutdowns.
Tunnels included.
Tunnels included.
But I'm just saying. I mean, let's think about it. We have the government that is shut down right now over a wall where I believe one guy said they could just fly over the plane. I mean, they just fly over, dig under. So if you
can actually saw through it with a regular saw, or like an industrial strength saw. It's already been sawed through. So why, in anybody in their right mind, regardless of where they're at in the immigration debate, why would anybody want to spend? And again, I thought conservatives were supposed to be the whole fiscal stewards, right? Why would anybody be proposing to spend $12 to $14 billion on a wall that is not even going to stand up to a saw that you can get at Home Depot?
Once again, Your party in 2013 voted
I think they got. I'm
unanimously.
pretty sure they got Home Depots in. Can we fact check if they got Home Depots in Mexico?
Oh, they got Home Depots in Mexico.
I'm pretty sure.
But here it is. Your party back in 2013, the
wanna
Progressive
double
Party.
check on
Remember,
that.
They call
the
it
party,
Home
the
Depot.
party
Okay,
of
okay.
the party of the
Pueblo
people.
Depots.
They got Casa Depot
Casa
in
Depot.
Mexico.
Okay, listen, Casa Depot. You had the party. You had the party of the people in 2013, led by the Honorable Great Chuck Schumer, voted unanimously with all the other
nobody's
Democrats and
disputing
said
that.
he wanted this wall. So what has changed now? What's changed?
What do you mean?
Why do we have to have government shutdown where people can't get their tax returns, right? You got government, federal.
Now, is it fair to say that when the Democrats voted for the border fencing both times,
okay,
that it got done, it worked on it.
That's true.
And they
That's
built
true.
it, and there's thousands of miles of it now.
See, that's the thing that's so funny to understand to me because Trump is talking this rhetoric like he's going to build a wall.
Right.
As if there's not already miles and miles of a wall already standing.
Well,
right? So he's trying to make this argument. So I got to ask, why is Trump trying to what he's doing is he's gambling basically his presidency on this wall.
So
that his supporters, they're not even understanding the logistics of it or the history that you're bringing up. That number one, Democrats started building this wall a long time ago.
They have
starting
building
with
the
the
wall.
administration of Bill Clinton.
They have.
So there's already miles and miles of a wall
Right.
that, as expected, has not worked in stemming illegal immigration from happening in the country. And the other part that I feel as a Chicano myself, that is being often politicized in a way that is racist, is that all the focus is being given on dark, brown, poor people from Mexico, right? But we're not looking at if people were really truly interested in stopping the tide of illegal immigration. Nobody is talking about the 50% of all illegal immigration is not coming from Mexico. So we're not talking about people that are coming from Europe, India,
Russia.
Asia, China, Russia, the Ukraine, all these other, Spain, all these other countries, Canada, right, that are coming here authorized.
Right.
There's a lot of people that are coming here authorized, and then
Right,
what happens is that visa, either a student visa or what have you, it expires, and then they decide, you know what, I'm just going to stay here, and they don't go back. And so technically, that is also illegal immigration, and nobody is talking about that. So how do we propose to invest $14 billion in a portion of a wall when there's already a standing wall, and really it's not even going to address 50% of unauthorized immigration coming into the nation?
So let me respond to that. First off, El Chapo can pay for this wall because they have $14
I'm pretty sure,
billion on
though.
El Chapo.
I don't know El
The
Chapo
federal
personally,
government has,
but I would be willing to bet he's not going to fund the wall.
The federal government has already seized, I believe, $14 billion of his money already. But here we go. So even with this wall, Trump is smart in this sense. What he's doing, and I know you're going to agree with this, that's different than any politician. He had a list, right? A campaign list. And he said the wall was one of my biggest priorities on my campaign list.
He's banking his presidency on that.
And I'm banking my presidency on this.
And he's holding the government hostage.
But here's the best thing. For a strategic move, he's saying, look, I promised you a wall. I promised you this. I promised you that. I'm not like any other politician. I came to Washington, and I've been keeping my campaign promises. I'm checking the list. I'm checking it off. So if you look at it from that standpoint,
Like Santa Claus.
Right, he thinks he's Santa Claus.
He's the orange Santa Claus.
No, but if you look at it, if you really look at it from a strategic move, when he runs again, he's gonna say, look, I've been fighting for all my campaign promises. I'm not like Elizabeth Warren, aka Pocahontas. I'm not like this individual. I'm not like this individual. But I am a person who says I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do it. Now we can debate the racism and all that. I'm just saying if he gets his wall, then all his voters and his supporters are gonna say, you know what? He did fight for us, right? He did stick his neck on the line. Even if they're going to dig tunnels under the wall, right? Even if they're going to kick it open, even if El Chapo pays for it or don't pay for it, even if we pay for it, because he kept a campaign promise. And so I think this is why he's doing this, is to fulfill this promise, because he knows if the Mueller investigation goes out against him, he knows the DOJ can't indict a sitting president. So he has to appease his base because those are the people that can get him reelected. If he gets reelected, and just look at the DOJ right now. He is shaping the DOJ. Rosenstein is leaving. He's getting a new attorney general in there. He's putting new attorneys. And remember, Mueller works for the DOJ. They don't work for Congress. He works for the DOJ. So whoever the attorney general is, that's who Mueller reports to. Well, if Trump is molding the attorney general, if you don't really look at, he is molding the DOJ into his likeness right now. So what's going to happen with this investigation? So I believe the wall is more. I think it's not just about a wall. It's about presidency.
It's not. It's about politics, and it's about.
I agree.
A narrative, and it's about what I'm curious to see, because we know this wall is not going to get built, right? Regardless of whether you want it or not. It's
234
just that's a Christmas present. You're not going to see under the tree come December 25th. It's not going to happen, especially at that price tag, and especially when it's not even going to work, when people are digging tunnels under it. People can saw through it with a saw.
Yeah.
Just today I saw an article where some truck got caught at the top driving over a portion of the wall where they literally had rails.
Oh, man.
So, it doesn't make any sense just from a monetary standpoint to even pursue this. So we can agree that this is a political maneuver, right? So
right.
what I'm curious about
to see. So we have a wall up
see
right now, right?
what we have. Yes, we do.
Hey, Doc. Hey, Gov't.
Yeah, 2 fact checks.
Okay, go ahead.
Number 1, sitting president. Can the sitting president be indicted?
No,
that is not settled.
Well, no, the DOJ.
The sitting president hasn't been indicted, is all we know.
No. And so we can fact check this.
We can set the precedent.
The DOJ
anytime.
has wrote a memo that said they will not indict.
Will not.
And will not is 2 different things.
And Mueller already said he would follow.
I'm just fact checking.
You're right.
So we don't know whether the sitting president can be indicted. We just know that it hasn't been indicted.
That's correct.
That this department said they didn't want to indict.
They wouldn't indict. And Mueller says no respect that.
Second thing, we talked about the border fence and how long it was. The current law mandates 700 miles of border fences, 650 miles. Completed.
Was that during the Clinton administration?
That was the mandate was 2006, and by 2009, 650 miles was.
That was
fulfilled.
Bush.
Right.
That was Bush.
So that's the current mandate. There are still, of course, over what is it, like 1,200 or 1,800 miles of border, but only 700 miles is mandated under law.
Can you put up what the current wall looks like right now?
Yeah, I can show y'all, but basically it's like we saw on TV. It's basically just slats and steel fences. They're like, if you move fast enough, you won't see it. It just looks like
The other part of this that's often overlooked is what drives unauthorized immigration, right? And my feeling is, as somebody.
Farming, cheap labor.
Exactly, right. So to me, it's very hypocritical and very counterproductive to say we're going to build a physical barrier if you are not addressing the push-pull factors of what is pulling them here, which is industry jobs, low-wage jobs, employers that are hiring people who are not authorized to work in the United States,
right,
who are hiring them because they don't care to exploit their labor, right? And so the other thing is the push factors, which is the violence, the economic destruction that U.S. corporate policies are responsible for, that are interfering with the stability of these nations, like Honduras more recently, like economic policies in Mexico connected to the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, and all of these policies that are undercutting the stability of these local communities in these nations, that are driving people to seek economic opportunity elsewhere. And they're following the money because the money is being siphoned from their local economies. And until we can address those push-pull factors, no wall, no matter how high we build it, no matter how thick it is, no wall is going to stop that process from happening.
So a couple of things we want to clarify as far as facts. Illegal immigration has gone down almost every single year.
It's been in a decline. The last 5, I would say 5 years specifically.
Right, but it's been happening. Clinton was tough on immigration. Bush tough on immigration. Barack Obama
he has been the toughest on it.
Every president before him combined has not
deported more
people than just Barack Obama. So I would say, and when we look at the numbers, that is what we're seeing. We're seeing a decline
especially from Mexico.
But we're
we
not.
actually have a net loss of illegal immigrants from Mexico. There are over 1 million less than there were in 2000.
But let me add on to that and say that.
Well, I just want to clarify what you said earlier, which is that the majority of illegal immigrants are actually people who overstayed their visas.
Yep. Who are flying here,
and they're flying in. They're not from Mexico.
And that is, and those numbers are not in a decline. And so, again, if we were really trying to be strategic and looking at it from a standpoint of like this is as Trump calls it a crisis, right? But he's giving it at a location, and that's to me the part that's racist is because if there is no, you're creating a fake crisis when all the facts and all the data show that it is in a decline from Mexico. The majority is going to be the majority soon because over almost 50%, right, are flying in. It's right now it's about 50-50. Mexico immigration is at a decline. The ones that are coming in overstaying visas is at a steady pace, right? So it's going to be the majority very soon if it has not already eclipsed.
But once again, one more thing. When we heard last week and the week before, the talk from Washington is about the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Nielsen, and the talk is about what we call special interest aliens. So those are people who come in from countries that have some sort of negative history with the U.S., maybe a terrorist, a bombing,
like the mother from here in Stockton that made national news with she was not being allowed in on a visa because she was from Yemen.
Right.
But even though her son is a citizen and the father was a citizen from Stockton, eventually she was granted the visa.
So those. Man, you made me forget my point.
You're talking about the problems, the nations that are identified as being threats.
So when we looked at we hearing the talk from Washington saying that there's all these suspected terrorists coming in from the southern border, and when we look at the numbers, we have 4 to 6 times as many coming from the Canadian border.
Yeah.
So. But no talk about offense.
Again, because the facts don't jive with the rhetoric.
But we know what it is. It really is campaign rhetoric.
It's
political because he knows that this rallies up his base. And we don't want to segment out the subject yet. But even with the cop killing from the illegal immigrant, they can use that to his base. Like you see what I'm saying? It's out of hand. We'll get that later.
But I would like to say one thing that I think maybe will help us move on to another subject.
Yeah.
This whole thing is false. The premise is false. It's all BS. And I can tell you just a simple thing. Before January 3rd, who controlled both houses?
Republicans.
So why didn't they fund the wall? They funded. They gave a $13 trillion tax break.
So,
but they didn't fund the wall. See, hold on.
Okay, I got something.
Hold on.
That's good. That's really good.
I think that's called mic drop.
I think it's called political rhetoric based in racial fear, right? It's the fear.
That was a low blow to the Republicans. That's fact checks.
But it's a fact check. It's the truth.
But let me explain.
Hey, I got a drink to that.
Answer why they didn't. All right, let's hear it.
Let's hear it.
Here's my opinion.
As the resident conservative, let's hear it.
Here's my opinion. They want the Democrats to come in office so they can cause havoc.
Pretend that it was the Democrats.
So if they cause havoc and things don't work, because the economy, if you look at the Dow Jones, it's starting to implode right now. So what Trump can do now, and I think it's all a strategic move. He can blame the Democrats for coming in instead of if they would have passed that wall, right, and then if the economy would have been diving, then everyone would have said, you see what happens when you put the Republicans in? They got this $1 trillion wall that they said Mexico was going to pay for. Then the economy's doing bad.
Well, who would say that? I mean,
we can
fact check that. I mean, let's fact check it.
Yeah, but most people don't watch Talent Like It Is and fact check.
This is my opinion. So what
That's why we got this show, right?
So here it is, Governor Don.
Go ahead.
My opinion is they didn't want to pass the wall. They allowed Democrats to come in.
They're trying to make them the fall guy.
To do articles of impeachment.
And they know the Democrats can't do it because then they're going to lose support from their base.
Right, so then in 2020, Trump could come out and say, you know what? When we had the House and Senate, everything was great. Stocks broke record highs. Now, when the Democrats came in, we didn't get the wall. You see all those cops that died? The Democrats don't care about you. Not only that, the economy's doing bad. So I'm saying
moral of the story is politics, and it's not really serving the people.
I think it's politics at its best, and I think politicians
I think
are
it's
playing.
politics at its worst.
So I'm saying it's best in the sense that I think they're strategically doing these things.
Well, unfortunately, it's typical nowadays. You know, this is how it works. You know, I mean, of course, we know politicians and politicians and liars is almost synonymous. You know,
Correct.
But
no way.
Yeah, you ain't heard about that.
Oh yeah.
I don't believe that for a
Oh, they
second.
flip, right? So they're like this brother right here. They flip
But what
right
I'm saying,
themselves.
but I'm just saying, like all of that aside,
Yeah.
we know. Look, I'm telling you, look, you can get an ignorant person to believe anything that they're ignorant of, right? They don't know, they don't have no facts, and somebody who's emotional and somebody who's a racist, which is almost insanity.
Right.
It's pretty much insanity because racism doesn't make any sense. So people like that, you can get them to believe stuff just by stoking fear. So what I'm saying is, all that it's likely to happen. That when have we never seen Trump blame other people? Especially the Democrats. I mean, we heard that right now. We got a situation. We're not funding the wall.
Right.
And it's not the Democrats who ain't funding it.
But who are they blaming?
It's the Republicans
who are
who
they?
not funding
But Governor Don, who are they blaming?
We already know.
But what's going to happen to the average-minded individual? They're going to say, you know what? The Democrats are not funding this wall.
So that
I disagree because you, like Trump, think that he's only the president of a third of white people.
Oh, well,
he doesn't.
Yeah.
Keep it real.
Okay. Yeah.
Keep it real. He doesn't behave like he's a president of
That's
350 million people.
That's true. He doesn't.
He believes like he's a president of 43 million people.
That's 60 million. His voters. 60 million.
Nah, because that's 60 million people voted for him. That ain't the people who support him now. So down to 43 million. Okay. So that's what he got, and that's who he's playing towards, and we know that. But that's still irrelevant because truth is truth, and in all honesty, another topic of the day is article impeachment filed.
Right.
You really think he's gonna last this long?
So
Yes.
before we segue into that, I want to close this conversation out by saying what I see this as really is a political chicken, right? You got two sides that are squaring off with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to give in first, right? Because the Democrats are in a situation where if they do, they're going to lose their base next
Correct.
election.
And if the Republicans
and
do-
Trump is banking his presidency on this and holding the federal government hostage from even opening. At some point, what's going to be the breaking point, right? Somebody's going to have to give because what can be the foreseeable compromise on this?
But that's not necessarily true in the sense if you look up apportionments, and you will see that what they've done is they are passing laws. You just don't hear about it. They're focusing on one part of an apportionment, which is this wall. But there are 12 apportionments, and they passed 5. And so even now they're going in to pass so federal workers can get paid.
The House is passing it.
Well, the House is passing.
Again, you got to go to both
But
houses.
Trump has signed. He's
And
already
what happens
signed.
is Mitch McConnell isn't even letting it hit the Senate floor, and the reason why is because once it hits the Senate floor, it goes to Trump. If he vetoes it, it goes back to the House.
That's
true,
what I
I'm
mean
saying,
by the chicken race.
But 5 apportionments have already been signed into law.
So let's get into the
So
article
let's get an
of
article
impeachment.
impeachment. So once again,
Is Trump out or not?
Your
I'm counting.
Your party came in, and we got to give it to him. Brad Sherman of California Democrats wanted to reintroduce articles of impeachment.
Hey,
so
I will drink to that.
So you
It
can
ain't
call
gonna go
drinking.
nowhere, but I'll still drink to it.
This is the craziest thing because you still need the Senate, the House,
And that's what I mean by it's not gonna go anywhere.
So this is funny.
Well, now just so we're clear, the announcement was last Sunday, but the articles of impeachment was filed in July 12th, 2017.
Yeah.
Right, it's been filed. I mean, they keep filing.
Right. It's like
It goes back to the politics of it.
What's that thing in Libya? The Hillary Clinton. How many investigations? They
Benghazi.
Right.
Yeah.
Benghazi.
It's the Trump Benghazi.
So here's for the television viewers. Let's be honest right now with each other. You need the Senate.
Yeah, you need both.
The House is bringing the articles. The Senate actually got to be the one that convict the president.
What does that mean? That means that, see, this is like how laws go, right?
Mm-hmm.
House does something, then Senate goes on record on how they feel about it.
Right.
So the House says impeachment.
They're already letting you
all
know.
the senators have to say.
But he has,
am I down,
but he
am I not?
controls. He got 53 seats in the Senate.
Sure.
He's not going anywhere. So
And
which
that's
means
that's
when
what
all
I mean by
53 of
that.
those
It's not
folks
gonna
say
go anywhere.
No. Now, they have to answer to that in 2020
Why?
and 2022.
6 years. Remember, Senate is different. 6-year
2022.
terms. So
but they have different.
different, but they're not. The Senate.
A great deal of them are up for re-election
the Senate is fine right now, so they're not worried about these articles of impeachment.
No, you can't think that way because otherwise Mitch McConnell would have held a vote if they were fine right now.
For the articles of impeachment,
Mitch McConnell would every time they don't go on record for what they for these proposals put forward by the House.
Okay.
And every time it doesn't go to a Senate vote, what is the reason? It can't be just because they don't have time.
So here we go.
They don't want to go on.
They don't want to deal with it.
They don't want to go on record.
When was the first article filed? You said 2017, right? The last article was filed.
July
now,
2017.
Trump gained Senate seats in 2018. Mm-hmm. So obviously that impeachment did not hurt the Senate if he picked up 2 seats.
You can't say that.
How would he picked up 2 seats?
Well, maybe he was going to pick up 13.
She wants we got a viewer asking.
Okay.
She says, "Let's see you debate this topic for a minute. What is classified as an impeachable offense to be found guilty?"
So it's high.
So
crimes.
what can? So he's being accused of high crimes against the government.
So this is good.
Because we're talking about impeachment, not treason. Now treason is
high crime. It's high crime and treason. So
impeachment is high crimes and misdemeanors. So you know, misdemeanor is jaywalking.
That could be anything.
It's not. So really, Trump hasn't done anything that warrants impeachment until right now.
We can't say that.
Look, I'm just saying right now.
Wait. How many presidents have been impeached? What were they?
Bill
Clinton was the last one.
For what?
He got
for lying.
For
lying under oath.
Oh, so for lying under oath,
right?
Which
perjury.
President Trump has never done.
Right, and under oath.
Has he been under oath?
He's never been under oth.
That's the trick,
He's
right?
never been under oath.
That's the trick.
So you're not saying has President Trump lied.
So think about what you're saying.
I mean, I'm sure he have. It's just a matter of whether you can prove it.
Exactly, and not only that, when you can't say, well, president has to lie under oath, so he got to be under oath, and then you can't say, well, this president can't go get subpoenaed.
No,
president can't get.
I'm just saying, as of right now,
how do you lie under oath?
As of right now,
because we get to investigate ourselves.
No.
There you go.
Here we go, Governor Don. We don't know the Mueller report.
Right.
Maybe Trump has done things to be impeached.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
So I'm saying we don't know. I'm saying as of right now, we don't know has he done anything to be impeached. So when this information comes out, if he's done something to impeach him.
So let's agree it's not there yet. And what's the next subject on the agenda?
So the next subject is we got to talk about the cop killing. So let's first start off with Davis, the situation where the woman was responding to a triple.
I believe her name is Natalie Corona.
Natalie Corona, female.
She was responding to a triple car crash. An individual on a bicycle. Routine. Just killed her for no reason. Yeah. Right, and then he fled the scene. And then they eventually caught him. And then from this article, I seen something I was reading. They had
no, they didn't catch him. For the record, fact check, he killed himself.
No, well, you're right. So
he was never apprehended.
He wasn't
apprehended. He killed himself.
They discovered who he was,
and they were coming to get him.
And they were at his house,
and he killed himself. But I seen an article where somebody put "Blue Lives Matter," and you can look at this, and they said that's racist because they said that blue lives is
what's a blue life?
Which is the police.
How is that a blue life?
They said Blue Lives Matter because they call cops to wear blue. So blue stands for justice. And
it's a lot of people. Crips wear blue too.
But is anybody in the nation arguing whether police lives matter? We all know that.
No. What I'm saying is someone had posted
to
Blue
me, it's
Lives
a false
Matter,
debate.
and they saying that
you ain't born blue.
But they saying that
it's a false debate.
So I got some
a profession. I just want to say for the record, a profession is not a life.
Right.
So look at this. For everyone who hate the police, that's fine.
That's like saying
no.
So next
nobody's
time,
saying hate the police.
No, I'm not saying that. But
I got a lot of respect for police.
You do hate police corruption.
Corruption. But the ones who just outright hate police, call a crackhead. Next time somebody break into your house and is robbing you, call a crackhead. Next time you get mugged on the street.
That's a false dichotomy.
No.
Well,
because you got a lot of people.
Plus,
that
I got to call.
Jerome,
I got to call the red card on that one.
Beast mode crackheads out there that if you call them, you will get help. They will come out and save you.
Okay. Now we got Flipmeister, Governor Don.
First of all,
I'm gonna keep it real. Fact check. I have seen crack addicts.
They go in beast mode.
Who you do not want to mess with.
Okay, so that's what we do. So next time you're in
probably
trouble, get one of the Governor Don's beast mode crackhead.
No. I say if you are.
It's a false debate.
It's
an
emergency. Please dial 911.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Is
because
people,
that's what you're supposed to do. That's what we as taxpayers pay for.
But you look at people put Blue Lives Matters out, and then people they're getting offended. Like for example, somebody's wearing a Blue Lives Matter in the store, and they wouldn't serve.
But why are we even talking about this? I thought we were talking about the officers. Let's get back to the officers.
I can answer that.
Let's go.
The reason why it's so simple. Blue Lives Matter is not a movement. It's an anti.
It's a reaction to Black Lives Matter.
It's an anti-movement.
So is it racist?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. And why it is based on race.
So you're just saying that the Blue Lives Matter was there in an anti-movement.
Let me tell you what would have fixed all of it.
Okay.
If the Black Lives Matter group, my wife figured this out.
Okay.
If they didn't say Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
If they said instead, Black Lives Matter too.
But you know what? Let me see who said it the best.
There would have still been opposition.
It don't matter. But it would have been ridiculous opposition that you could just say talk to the hand.
You know who said it the best?
I was watching. Because some people don't even want to acknowledge that there's Black Lives. Period.
No,
right.
You're gonna like this.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so I was watching Dave Chappelle, and you gotta watch the Walking Dead episode. And he had the pale face guy. Maybe he dressed up with the blonde hair, and he said all lives matter. And so you gotta watch that episode when he said, remember that you said Blue Lives Matter. He goes, no, all lives matter, all lives. So really, all lives do matter, no matter if you're a police, black, Hispanic.
But not when you responding to somebody saying, "Hey, we are being marginalized and treated unfairly, and our lives matter." And if somebody shows up and say, "What? Everybody's lives matter," that means I ain't listening to you, and I don't care what you're saying.
Okay.
Let's just keep it real. Just tell it like it is.
No, let's tell it like it is. Oh, so we're gonna tell us like it is.
Because blue lives do matter, man. We know that. We know cops are important.
There's
nobody here.
Let me just state there is no such thing as a blue life. Right? There is no such thing.
Right.
What there are people who work the profession of a police officer, law enforcement, correctional officers.
Right.
Correctional officers in California wear green. Do we got to say green lives matter? Right? At the end of the day,
green lives matter?
Yes.
Green lives matter.
Well, what about the
all
military?
Lives matter.
Can the military get a green lives matter?
Can we get a green and khaki lives matter?
But let's get back on track, right?
Yeah, okay. Right. Yeah.
Let's not confuse a profession where people from all ethnic backgrounds work in that profession.
That's
so
true.
to get back to Natalie Corona, she was, from all understanding of mine, a Mexican woman who was a police officer, and the daughter of her father was a police officer, so she was following in his footsteps, right? So let's not minimize the fact of what her ethnic heritage was by classifying her as being a blue life, because we are not solely our professions, and life in general matters more than our profession. So to get back to the real root cause of what is going on, and the reason why it's a national debate, is because you had back-to-back killings, actually multiple killings recently of several police officers who were not, many of them were Mexican, black, in addition to the Indian officer who was killed down in Newman.
Right.
He was an immigrant from Fiji. And so the thing that I have an issue with is, number one, police officers, it's a profession that is worthy, that is needed in society. By all means, hats off, respect for the people who do a job.
And we do
that is not always easy, right?
Right.
But at the same time, let's not confuse that to a debate with accountability of that profession, as we're talking about accountability for elected officials.
Let's talk about accountability.
But let's get to that. But what I want to say real fast is a lot of people feel that President Trump, that it is not in good taste to be politicizing the death of an officer for a political purpose, like I feel the sheriff of Stanislaus County, the former sheriff of Stanislaus County was, as well as President Trump, but then say absolutely nothing when a Mexican officer is killed a week and a half later by a white male. Right, and so you can't just say, well, this person's life mattered because it was a blue life.
Okay.
But then you have another one who just happens to be a different ethnic background, killed under different circumstances that does not fit into a political debate, and all of a sudden there's no talk about it from those same politicians, and that's the part that I feel is dishonest. If we're going to talk about, these officers' lives matter, then let's talk about that. But let's not politicize it to commingle it with another debate of illegal immigration.
Right. Like, just like if we're going to talk about terrorism in America,
right?
We should recognize that it's white males who are terrorists in America.
There are white male terrorists in America.
If you get killed by a terrorist in America, you're 80% likely to be a white Christian male.
Right.
Or a white man who identifies as a Christian.
It would be wrong to clarify, to classify all Christians, right? To say, well, this Christian, he was an extremist and he went and shot up this health clinic. When do you see people coming out and saying, oh, well, all white males,
exactly,
we need to start profiling them,
don't we all agree, and then everybody listening agree that the thought of that would be absurd?
I just want to see.
So why is the
equal playing field for the same, the different crimes and the similar crimes?
Let's really tell it like it is. It's all political, because at the end of the day, Kate Stein, when she got killed in San Francisco, it was political, because Trump could say you let this illegal immigrant in. If I had the wall, she wouldn't have been here. Even with this police officer in Newman, right? It's all political.
Right.
If you
because
had the wall
illegal immigrants kill less people than
so you are right. It is political. It's the political that creates the fear in his 43 million base, and they're saying Trump is right. Oh my God, they're killing this officer. They're killing Kate Stein.
It's a crisis at the border.
It's a crisis. Remember the one they had? What was the lady? Was Idaho or somewhere? With the guy was working in the farm and he went out.
Young lady.
The young lady, and so then now you can bring these incidents up.
But that's the point of racism. That's what racism is. Racism is when there's this multitude of things that happen, but you only recognize the things that your racism lets you see.
So let's talk about this SB 1421.
So let's get into the police accountability.
So
right?
the police
is that the new law that went into effect?
So yeah, so it went into effect and Jerry Brown signed it. So I'll give you a brief history on what a Pitchers motion is. Right. So a Pitchers motion before is, so let's say you had an officer, and not just shooting, or anyways, you want to go after an officer, you would make this Pitchers motion, right? And then the judge would go back because it's the city attorney, because they control they represent the police force. They'll go in the back room of the chambers and they'll put the officer's file. And then if there's anything in the file, then they allow the defense attorney to go in to look at his personnel file.
Sure.
But it wasn't transparent to the public. You wouldn't know what was in his file.
And that's because of something in California called the Police Officers Bill of
Rights. Okay, so now what you have now is with this SB 1421, which I don't know if it's going to stand, because you're probably going to have the police union, which is one of the strongest unions in the world.
Well, didn't it already go into effect?
Yeah, but
it is now the law in California.
But it probably get challenged. I'm just saying they're probably going to challenge.
It's already being challenged.
So what this does is they're saying, okay, when you have an officer involved deadly shooting, you can open up his personnel records.
Other instances of misconduct.
You can open up his personnel records. So which means is, let's say an officer goes out and shoots an individual, me as a family or the public can say, okay, I want to pull this officer's file to see what he has.
Well, I mean, what do you think about that? Do you think there's something wrong with that?
I truly don't. However, a lot of people do not report on these officers. So you might think they have something in their files. And I've done a few Pitchers motions. And the few Pitchers motions that I've done, I have never received that information, only because people don't file. So you have an officer out there, and he's terrorizing the community. No one files internal affairs reports. I mean, you probably one of many.
That's why it's important to do so.
You probably one of many, a few, But I'm just saying, just as the masses, they do not file, right? I've had individuals.
Most people don't understand that you even can.
Right. So, I mean, it's only a very few people that have filed. And then it'll go in their file, and it hurts with promotions and different things. So the majority of people do not file on officers. So even with this bill, chances you getting something on his pocket file is very slim, just because people do not file.
So does that mean that we don't make it possible?
I'm not saying it shouldn't be possible. I'm just saying, if you think this is a great successful win, you rarely will pull a police file and you have something in it, unless it's something internal as it relates to company policy.
That very may well be the case, but it should be possible. My feeling is it should be possible, and I speak from experience where I have filed complaints on officers for misconduct. I have had that experience growing up in Stockton, dealing with police officers.
Not here in Stockton?
There's a lot of officers in Stockton that I respect. But I will say there are those bad apples of the bunch, so to speak, that do take the badge as like a cloak of superiority and violate the very laws that they are sworn to uphold.
I mean, if you live long enough, you'll see one.
One prime example is where I did file a complaint with some officers, and it turned into an internal affairs investigation, and nothing happened. They denied my claim as expected, but 2 years later, I get a knock on my door from a private investigator who says, "Hey, you're the complaint that you filed 2 years ago. We pulled this. What is it called? This pocket file or what?
Yeah.
Okay, we pulled this. Officers. They had to hire a private investigator because a young black male was treated similarly
to what happened to you
on the same block where it happened to me, downtown right here by the movie theater.
Okay.
And they saw so what they found was, well, this officer
has
a pattern of certain type of behavior. He's done this to somebody before. So it did not help me.
But it helped the other individual.
It may or may not have helped the other individual. I'm leaning towards it probably helped that young person.
So typically what happens is, what he's talking about is this. And so let's say there's another incident, as you say, with the officer, and a defense attorney will raise up a petition motion. So even though nothing happened with your case, the file itself is still in there. And
it may help somebody in the future.
So when they went into the judge's chambers, they said, "Oh, Motec filed this complaint. Here's the charges." So then you read the charges. So then I was saying,
but the judge said Motec. Oh, don't worry about it.
Well, he might say that. so then the investigator will go to Motec and he'll say what happened. He'll give a report. So now when you're going up against the officer, you can say, you know what? He has a pattern for untruthfulness, because what you're trying to do is get the officer's statement thrown out, because you're saying he has a pattern of untruthful statements. He has a pattern of violence,
you make it a character issue.
Right, you're assassinating his character. I'm just saying, I don't have a problem with the bill per se. Depending on how they use it, I don't think that internal affairs. I mean, anything that happened in the office, if he came to work late, he got written up, that should be exposed. But I think if he has discrepancies as relates to your situation, or things that he's done out in the public, because the public is paying these officers' salaries, then the public has the right to know.
Because they are public government employees.
Remember, when you're paying your house taxes and you're paying these taxes, you're paying their salaries. When they retire and they make that $5,000 a month and they're drinking Mai Tais on the beach,
public service.
We're paying for that.
And think about that. Like, first of all, folks, you know we was off for a few weeks, so don't this is the extended,
we're catching up.
Extended version catch-up edition.
Yeah. Right. Extended version catch-up edition.
Remix. But look, let's just keep it real, man. If a doctor is operating on you, and they mishandle themselves, right? They have to have insurance to protect them as an individual.
That's true.
Because if they do something like that, you sue them, and they're in trouble, and they have to have insurance to cover them. And if it happens too much, they can't be a doctor no more.
Dr. Conrad Murphy.
Also, let me ask you, think about something else. Like if you if you go to like Best Buy or someplace and you like buy a TV from somebody, that person had to pass a drug test to sell you a TV.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
But
That's true.
Police, no, they don't get tested for any of that kind of stuff. So I'm saying is that if you sue a police officer, they're shielded from that lawsuit. Even if it was a malpractice like a doctor, the county doesn't pay the bill, the state don't pay the bill. But now here is the city is going to pay this bill, shield this officer. So everyone there in that system is motivated to cover up. So it's a setup from the beginning, just the way it's laid out. The truth is, you know, we know that our society requires people to be authorized to maintain order.
Right.
Yeah. The reason why is because we have freedom.
Right.
You know, some people say, we talk about America jailing so many of its population. Well, we have freedom.
Yeah.
So we do stuff, and some of it requires jailing. However, we also have the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. You know, cruel and unusual punishment is illegal. Let me just ask you, like, if me and you got into an issue, and if I violated something about you, would you, like, kidnap me and lock me in a room? That would be cruel and unusual.
Right. No,
but why does it happen to...
That's happened to me before, actually. Right? I have that experience.
But it was cruel and unusual.
And it was from Stockton Police.
But it's illegal.
But what I want to say is, I want to make a point of clarification, because you say there's a desire to everybody to cover up. And I want to make the point of clarification is dealing with this personally on more than one occasion, and also working with other people who have had similar experiences. I don't think that it's a motivation to quote unquote cover up. What I believe that to be more accurate, what it is that because these are city employees, the city goes into full protection mode for the sake of liability against lawsuits. And so what they're going to do is, even in instances where they know they're wrong.
I should have said biased defense.
No, well, I would say to limit their liability, right? And that's what they do.
You don't want to pay millions of dollars.
And it's not so much to cover up to like destroy evidence or anything like that. But what they do is they make it as hard as possible for the offended party to seek restitution and in the process justice, even in instances where they know that the officer did wrong. And we see that time and time again. Even recently, the mother of James Rivera, Dion Smith Downs, she was just paid out $300,000 from the County Board of Supervisors. Actually, was that approved or not? I know it was in the news to be voted on. I believe it was approved, but she still has the lawsuit against the city of Stockton because both agencies were involved. That incident happened 9 years ago. Right. So my thing is, like, if they're going to agree and say there was wrongdoing now, which had to go through the system to go to court and all that kind of stuff. Number one, what took so long? And number two, if you knew it was wrong now, you knew it was wrong then.
But that's my point. Everyone is motivated to protect the officer. Not everyone, but the city.
I would say it's not even about the officer. It's about really the liability of the agency.
Let me clarify. It's not about the liability of the it is ultimately about the liability. But what I'm saying is, in effect, what happens is an officer involved in whatever it is has a whole network of people trying to shield him and protect him and make it okay. Make it okay. It would make it okay. You know why? Because we got to pay. And they don't want to pay. So what I'm saying is that if you don't have accountability, you can't have responsibility. If you don't have responsibility, you can't expect.
So let me counter this. So what happens is this: even when that case may take 9 years, and you're right, you have the police unions that protect an officer. The reason why it takes so long is because, remember, the officer didn't just walk up to this individual and killed him. Chances are, not all cases, something happened. So now you have to look at the officer's intent.
And he's on the job.
Right,
and that's hard to prove.
Right, it's hard to prove. So you have the police unions fighting. They're saying there was no intent. He didn't know him wasn't intent to kill. He was doing this individual. Right. So you're going back and you're fighting. Right. So at some point, the city says, I don't want to go have a jury trial. I don't want to do this. How about we just settle for $300,000 because we'll say, you know what? They're not saying admitting guilt.
We spent $150,000.
Yeah, we spent they're not admitting guilt. They're just saying, okay,
move on.
Let's just move on. This is bad press for us. Let's move on.
Yeah, that's all wrong.
Right,
it's all wrong.
No, but
the reason why we're gonna move on is because I don't feel like dealing with it.
But the problem is this: you have the officers that are like you saying they're here to protect us, right? Sheriffs, police officers, they're here to protect us. So if you just start going in and saying this officer's wrong, this officer's wrong, what happens to the public? They lose trust.
No. They don't. They gain trust because this officer's wrong and they don't work for us no more.
And that's the way I feel, right?
But you have to
no. Let's play that scenario out. Here's what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting we hold our officers to a higher standard because they're above the law.
And that's my point, right?
So if they're above the law, they get away with everything. And they have to be held to higher standard. They're all supposed to be an example, but not. The other thing is, then we can pay them more.
But they're not above the law. And Multi, you know this to be clear. To watch this.
Shielded from the effects of the law.
Now watch this, Multi. Remember, we were in the meeting, and then you asked the question, how come police don't get?
And just for the audience, Jerome and myself, we have been in meetings with the district attorney, with the police lieutenants, and
so we talked. So remember
we
what
have
they
had
said,
these discussions.
And what they said.
Also, I've been in meetings with the chief of police.
Right. So the problem with these officers is the threshold for them is so high to get them. So they're not above the law, but the way the law is written is there to protect them.
It's very difficult.
So you're look. Let's tell it like it is.
Yeah, let's tell it like
they're not above the law. Except, so you just said there's all this apparatus to protect them from everything.
Correct.
Now, do you got that? Because I don't.
We don't have that.
So that's the law. See, we are subject to the law.
We're subject to the law.
But if we had that, we would be above the law.
Here's the difference, right? They're not. I would say, as the only person in this room who has actually gotten a police officer fired, which how rare is that? I would say they are not above the law, right? There is accountability. You have to know what your rights are as a citizen. You have to follow through. You have to file the complaint. You have to build the case. I prevailed because I built the case, and I was able to prove and show that there was ill intent in what these officers had towards me.
But that's why.
But my thing is that it's not so much that so I have proven that they are not above the law. My thing is that
in your instance, you
be talking about your rare
well, if
case,
you could show, if you could prove it one time,
here's what I can
then
say.
it applies every time.
Look, 1,600
It's just a
cases-
matter of
1,600 cases
whether
of-
all the right ingredients are there.
Right. 1,600 cases of excessive force against the LA police.
Tell them.
None of them.
Preach it.
None of them was
Preach
ruled
it.
as
This
valid.
Sunday. Preach it.
If it's 1,600 people
Uh-huh.
saying these police did me wrong,
Right.
and 0 of them are found to be
Not only that, but my understanding is LAPD destroyed records.
Oh, man,
right?
okay.
They wiped files.
My point is that's why this law is necessary.
And
This
I
law is
totally-
necessary because
I
we can't
totally
go on
agree.
Convictions.
Right.
We can't go on conviction because there's an unfair conviction rate.
It
We
is
know they're
necessary.
shielded. So if we know what people have said about them,
Right.
and then at least we get a clearer picture of people's experience with this officer, whether it's true or not, whether whatever, then it helps us to paint a picture. But I think the most important aspect of it is for the officer. Let me tell you what officers want to be. Officers want to be good officers.
Yeah.
Mostly. Those officers are the ones who we're thinking about. Now, the officers want to go get people. They became a cop to go hurt people. We got to build this system so we get rid of those people.
That's true.
But we really want those people who became an officer because they care.
We want them.
And we need to protect them. And instead what we're doing is we are letting this blue line and this blue lives thing lump all these officers in the same group. And what we need to do is we need to find officers, just like, look, hey, we want to find janitors who ain't doing right. Well, we sure want to find police officers who ain't doing right, okay? And we got to move them out.
So I will say
for the protection of
that I believe this is a good law because I believe again if we are going to it is very tragic. These officers lost their lives in the line of duty. They're doing their job. They're enforcing the law. There's a traffic accident. They're responding to it. There's a guy driving drunk. They're pulling them over. That is what they're supposed to be doing, right? So we definitely, my condolences go out to all their families. It's tragic. And we are asking them to sign up to put their lives in that danger, to be the point of contact to pull that drunk driver over. Exactly. My thing is that because we are placing so much trust in them, there has to be that higher standard because when you do have somebody who is violating the profession, who is undercutting and undermining the purpose of the profession, because we place so much trust in them. To me, the profession has protected even more. And the way to do that, my feeling is nobody should hate bad cops more than good cops.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
And that's the way
true.
that I feel needs
That's
to be
true.
changed
Yeah, I think that's
internally
unanimous.
within law
I
enforcement,
agree.
with the
You know what?
culture. And that's why I feel like
You made me proud
oftentimes,
of that.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
You made me-
oftentimes,
that sounds like a true hard Republican,
we gonna
conservative speaking.
that sound like a
That sound
Democrat.
like a good American.
That sound like a Chicano Democrat, a veteran who served my country, who has been born and raised in this community, who has dealt both with police officers who will go out of their way to make sure you're safe.
That's true.
And who has also dealt with police officers who will go out of your way on Christmas to try to intimidate you at your home.
Sure.
Right? So I have dealt with both. And so what I'm saying is the culture within law enforcement itself, I think sometimes they also get into that like blinder mentality where it's like it's us against the world.
Right.
And we got to get back to that sense of community policing
Right.
and say, no,
we
look,
not the enemy.
you are part of the community, right?
Right.
And we got your back as long as you know you got our back, and
Right.
there is no blue line where it's you on the other side
Right.
of some imaginary barrier. We are all in this together,
And that's not
we need
something-
to act accordingly.
Exactly, and that's not something we could go back to because it never existed. It only existed for certain small elements of this society. But it's something we can move forward to. And every 100% of the times that communities move forward to have improve the relationship between the police and the community through community policing, 100% of the times it's made a vast improvement in the relationship.
So let's talk about community.
And the outcome.
I got to give y'all the tell it of it is story of the day.
All right. Tell it like it's the story of
Governor
the day.
Don, put it up. So
What are we talking about?
we got to give this story. Shouts out to the UFC. So, what was her name, Governor Don? Because I know you had her name good down.
Hold on. Yeah, I got it.
And so this lady, she was waiting for Uber in Rio de Janeiro.
Rio de
And
Janeiro.
so she had her phone out, and this individual, he said, "Hey, can I get the time?" And she told him the time, And then I guess he had like a fake cardboard box or something.
Pollyanna Viana.
And so he went up to her and said, "I want your phone as a sticker." And little did he know.
With a cardboard box?
Oh, man. Little did he know that she was the UFC Iron Woman. She wore his behind out. They said 2 hits in a roundhouse. This face don't look like 2 hits in a roundhouse. She looked like she did some damage to this individual.
So she defended herself.
2 pounds of roundhouse.
It was so bad. She said that she felt sorry for the victim. I guess he was a victim now, right? He took a beating. That he thought that she was going to continue to keep beating him. She wanted him to stop, so she put him in a chokehold till the police got there.
How nice of her.
I mean, it was nice of her.
She was courteous.
So
She
not
was
only
looking
did
out
he
for
get
his
a
welfare.
beating, he gets taken to jail. He's gonna get charged, and he's got to be in cell. He gonna be in prison, knowing all the brothers in there that said he got whooped by this female. And look at his face. Oh my God, that is bad.
Yeah, if there's anybody gonna try to rob anybody nicknamed the Iron Woman,
Yeah.
that's just bad advice for
So I
anybody.
want to all you robbers out there, please ask the women, do they like UFC, karate, Muay Thai, something? Do not end up on the Tell It Like It Is story of the day with your face looking like this, because we will put you on and we will shame you for getting beat down by the UFC Iron Woman.
I think we should also shame him for trying to rob somebody.
I mean,
the
he
most.
should-
You know what I mean?
Hey, all you, now I'm gonna say to all you would-be robbers out there,
Yes.
right now, there's actually a lot of jobs that you don't even need to have a good criminal record. You don't even need to pass a drug test. There's money out there.
This
don't look
is
like
a
this.
public service
There
announcement.
is money out there. I'm gonna tell you. And but you know what? If you
There are better ways to make a
Way,
living, ladies
way
and
better.
gentlemen.
I
tell
mean,
you.
you don't want to end up
I'ma tell
beat
you.
like this. Look at his face. He is beat down. Oh my God.
how much money did he think he was gonna get?
I don't know, but you know what?
He
So
obviously
I
wasn't
propose
thinking
this.
about
I propose this.
He tried to rob her with a
Governor
cardboard
Don,
gun.
I know you're gonna love this. I propose this. Let her spend 5 minutes with the great R. Kelly, and see what happens.
Oh man, that's
Hey,
a talent
the
like
way-
it is for next show.
We're gonna talk about that, but that's next show. But she has to spend 5 minutes with R. Kelly in a room.
R. Kelly gonna be not interested.
Well, look, I just want to say also shout out to the women that are learning self-defense,
Yes,
standing up for themselves.
Yes,
and you know,
I mean, this could have been a tragic story. I mean, we're laughing at it just because of the outcome, but to the women that do go out and protect themselves, that know how to defend
It's
themselves,
a very serious
it's
thing.
important because you have people out here now, like you said. I mean, you can go out and get a job, but they don't want to. They rather go out and rob you. And she if you look at her, she doesn't look no more than 140, 50 pounds. So she looked as an easy prey.
Yeah.
But little did he know, I think she's a black belt. And so he found out. But you're gonna do what is called the walkie-talkie week or whatever you were saying. The talk walk.
walking the talk.
A walk in the talk.
We're gonna start that next episode.
All right.
We're telling it like it is. We're gonna start giving a shout out to every week. The
People walking the talk.
Walking the Talk award.
All right. Well, I know she was.
She's walking the talk.
So we got to give the shout
She
out.
is walking
What's
the
her name
talk.
again?
This
Go
our
to Don.
first- This is our
Pollyanna
first recipient.
Viana.
We might as well start today.
She walked the talk.
The Iron Woman of the UFC.
She's not a fake fighter. She's not a half fighter. Oh, you got the buzzer? There we go. She is not a fake fighter.
Yes.
She not only she's on the telling of this story of the day, she's the walking, talking story of the day.
Walking the Talk recipient, award nominee,
Yes.
and recipient of the week.
So we're gonna introduce the phone calls next week. It's gonna be at 944 KXVS.
We got a lot of people that chimed in.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for that too.
We weren't
Yeah,
able
so
to,
you could call us next week and
answer all of them. I'm sorry if we couldn't get to all your questions.
Yeah, but
I gotta correct this guy.
man,
He's-
Flip Meisters is in the
know,
building. We've been going for 4
he's
weeks.
over here.
Flip Meisters
He's
is
over here,
animated.
not even
especially
on,
getting on
not
that.
even on Trump's payroll.
Oh man, he's on Mesa de Mexico, so he's all messed up right now. So, anyways, next week 944 KXVS
209, of course.
209, the 209, and we're expanding. Governor Doug, you want to talk about the expansion?
Yeah, folks. So it's a beautiful thing, and thank you for your support. Help make it happen. But also, please become a member and support the new Voice of San Joaquin, which is an expansion for us. We've been the Voice of Stockton, and it's been a beautiful ride. We're still the Voice of Stockton, but we are blessed to be able to expand our reach as a content producer. Of course, big shout out to KXVS. I know we work with KXVS, but KXVS is a radio station. This is the voice of Stockton. We produce content.
There we go.
Well, now we're going to be on KBCC in Tracy. So Tracy is not Stockton. So
no, it's very different. But now it has some similar problems.
But as the voice of San Joaquin, we could cover it both. And so look forward to that. 89.5 in Tracy, it'll be coming on very soon. Just working on some technical things. It's already broadcasting, but the community content that we produce it will be getting on KBCC very, very soon. So thanks everyone for that. There'll be some changes to the pages, some logo changes and things like that. But it's all good. Don't be alarmed. And more importantly, support. And also big shout out to local State Farm, Stockton State Farm, becoming a new big sponsor. So
thank you. Appreciate it.
And shout out, speaking of Tracy, to all the people that drove all the way from Tracy today to come vote for me.
Yes.
I definitely appreciate that.
Congratulations. I don't know how the Flip Meister pulled it out. That's why he's in a you see he's in a nice blazer and a pink shirt. Normally he's in a tank top.
Somebody got to show him how it's done.
So
I got the tie in the pocket. See,
and he got the tie.
I was trying to tone it down for y'all.
Flip Meister himself.
Sunday evening.
He had that change color tie.
209-944-KXVS. We're gonna be here every Sunday. Happy New Year's to everybody. Hey, thank you for joining
89.5, correct? That's the
89.5
in Tracy. And in Stockton, it's
Stockton. We can't tell you the frequency, but we just got into work with the FCC, so
things are in the works.
We have a new Stockton rollout.
We're working
on in the works.
Yeah.
Happy New Year's, and we're gonna bring it live in 2019.
Tell it like it is.
El Chopper gonna build that
Salute.
wall.
I don't know about that.
The Republicans didn't.
They might as well. He'll do it before Trump.